Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the Stone Age Gamer Podcast. My name is Chris, I'm your host, and with me tonight are Dean.
Womp womp.
Dan.
Womp womp.
Tiff.
No, I'm not doing that. That's stupid.
Well, Dan, it was worth a shot.
Well, have. You know, just trying to do your thing.
Dan actually almost said, did you say womp womp?
Oh, shit.
Homestar Runner, everybody. Homestar Runner. Fisheye lens. Watch it. It's for our country. Anyway, yes, we're here, the Stone Age Gamer Podcast, making obscure internet references and living the dream as always. We are in February now. It has officially begun, and it's cold outside, which is, I'm sure, is true in North Jersey as it is here in South Jersey. And we're going to talk about our games.
Not for nothing.
Did you just tell the internet that we live in North Jersey? Because I think I have a problem with that.
Oh, that's right. You guys are
live in New York City, sir.
You live in Staten Island.
No.
It's still New York City.
It's a borough.
It says so on my mail.
It's a borough. We're the forgotten borough, but we live in New York City. No, I got into my car this morning at 6 o'clock this morning to leave and go to work, and have a, not that it's fancy or anything, but a digital temperature gauge in my car. And when I turned it on this morning, it said, fuck you. And
Nice.
yeah.
That's a classic temperature
well,
gauge.
It was 11 degrees this morning when I got into the car.
Considering that the groundhog bit the guy that he was supposed to be telling about winter, I don't think it's looking good.
Yeah, the groundhog was like, fuck you, it's cold out.
There's more winter coming, asshole.
He bit him in the ear.
And it's gonna hurt.
Dude, he Mike
Did
Tyson
you guys
him?
see the
That's
video?
crazy.
He's so much. It wasn't Puxatawny Phil, because, he's classy. But one of the other... apparently there's like 4 towns that are like, no, this is the real groundhog. Yeah, the mayor picked him up and he was like, what do you think, beaver? And the beaver it's not a beaver. The groundhog bit him right in the ear. It was fabulous. He had his little fancy top hat on and everything.
Yeah, Beaver Day is a whole different holiday.
Ew.
Thank you, Dan, everybody. You always know what to say, Dan.
What I'm here for.
Oh, Jesus. All right, so since it's the first week of the month, we're going to talk about what we played in January. And just for the heck of it, let's start with Dean.
Oh, shit. I never get to start first on my own podcast, so I'm happy I could start first on this one. So I started...
Apparently it's Dean's podcast.
Well,
what I heard there,
Oh,
ladies and gentlemen.
the Paper Cuts podcast?
Yeah,
I'm the host on that one. So, face. Shout out to Dean, big fan of the show.
Dean Haspiel?
Dean just shouted out to himself.
It takes a special kind of man to pull that off.
I'm broken. Help me.
I don't know that you're it.
Hashtag balls out.
Okay, alright, cool. So, I got around to playing the Grim Fandango Remastered, and it is everything that was promised in the description leading up to the release. For those of you who don't know, Grim Fandango is it's got to be going on 25 years now. 25-year-old game. I think it came out in 98?
I don't know. I thought it was only like 15.
Could be.
25 seems like a lot. Like, that seems way
What's
too
today,
long.
2015? Yeah, okay.
25 would be 1990.
Yeah, so 1990. All right, 15 years old. It's a great point-and-click adventure that's done from the perspective of I guess you'd call him a Grim Reaper / travel agent?
Yeah, Manny Cavalera is a travel agent.
Calavera, excuse me.
98.
God. Oh, nice.
90.
Okay, so Manny Calavera is a Grim Reaper / travel agent, and what he has to do to get moved on to the afterlife is sell these travel plans to the recently deceased, and once he sells enough of them, he can move on to his, final resting place. Till then, he's stuck in some kind of fucked up purgatory where he has to sell these never-ending travel plans to people. He finds out about midway through the story that something's going on that he needs to solve, where he's getting shafted for all the plans that he holds, and what happens is there's some like underground liberation movement that also knows something's going on, and they recruit him to find out the truth. It's a really colorful game, and there's so many funny things going on with it. Now, the graphics are a little dated still, even though it's remastered. You can only get so much out of, outdated graphics, and they did smooth everything out amazingly well for what it is. I play on a 1080p monitor, and it still looks really, really sharp and really good, despite the fact that it is incredibly old. They
didn't update the geometry at all, just kind of up-resed what was there?
Yeah, they smoothed it out, really. That's about it.
Really? So he's still all polygony?
Nah, not really. No, he's not. Like I said, that's what they smoothed out. They tried to make it a little nicer to look at. You can still downgrade it if you want to look crappy, but I would be surprised for anyone who would do that. It does look very...
Yeah, it's not crappy. It's nostalgic.
Sure, nostalgic. If I had the option of looking
Retro.
at something that looked like very nice and smoothed out, or polygons galore, I'd pick the nice smoothed out one. I mean, to be honest, those sort of graphics were in the heyday of like the 64 and the PlayStation, the original one, where cutting edge graphics weren't really what you wanted. None really looked that great. To be honest, looking back at Final Fantasy VII and stuff like that, I don't want to play the original. I have no desire to do that. Give me an HD version, please. God, give me an HD version. The same thing goes for the original.
Never gonna happen.
Yeah, I know, but the same thing goes for the original of this game. It was cool while it came out, when it came out, but now that there's an HD version, I don't want to look back. This is really, really tight and nice looking, and like I said, I really think they pushed the boundary as far as remastering the graphics goes.
I do like that you're saying that you can switch back and forth, like on the Secret of Monkey Island remakes that they did. Is it that instantaneous, like in Monkey Island special editions?
Yeah, it's right in, right out. The game doesn't need to be restarted or anything, and you can actually also switch perspectives or scale, I believe. You can do 4:3 or 16:9. I think those are the ratios.
Wow, that's really cool.
Yeah, and like I said, it's all on the spot. I mean, I do have a heavy-duty gaming rig that I play this on. Maybe it would take a little bit longer to load on something less substantial, but I couldn't see it having to restart the game anyway.
Yeah, they're probably just running both engines concurrently like they did with Secret of Monkey Island.
Right.
And I'm sure it's not very... Because what platforms is it on? It's on PS4, Vita, and PC, right?
Correct.
So
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure all three of those could handle running both concurrently and then just swap out what you're looking at a moment's notice.
Right. I'm having a lot of fun playing it. I haven't beaten it yet, but to be honest, the story's so cool, and I really didn't get into it when I was a kid because, to be honest, my computer back in the day, even though I had the original copy of this game, didn't work with that original copy. When this came out, I must have been 9-10 years old, something like that. So my computer was what my parents bought. It wasn't what I bought. So,
Was it a compact Presario?
It was. How did you know?
Because that's what everyone had.
Exactly.
I had a Gateway.
Ooh.
You had a higher end one, man. You were
Fucking fancy
With your
pants over
fancy
there.
cow box.
Yeah.
That cow box was awesome.
Yeah, I'm sure it was, but yeah, my computer just couldn't handle it back then. I was so bummed because the game would boot up, but none of the graphics would load. It would be really like weird looking and everything. I couldn't tell what was going on. But like
That's
from
shitty.
just like hearing the opening part, I was like, I really want to play this, and it would never work. So now that I can go back, play this and everything, it's fantastic. I almost all but forgot about this till I saw it probably last month on Good Old Games that it was coming out to be re-released, and sure enough, it came out release day on Steam. It's now in my Steam library, and to be honest, I'm looking forward to beating it.
Yeah, dude. Anything that gets put out by Double Fine, anything that Tim Schafer, big fan of the show, Tim Schafer, is involved with, just needs to be purchased. They're a studio that just give them your money, because they will continuously put out a product that is absolutely worth it. They have this incredible back catalog. Like, because of the buzz and the hype and the pre-orders that were around Grim Fandango, they announced that the PlayStation experience, like a month or two ago, that they were going to do a remastered version of Day of the Tentacle, which is another point-and-click adventure, which is also incredible. And
I don't want to hear it until I get my remastered Psychonauts along with the sequel.
well, yeah. Because goddamn it anyway, Psychonauts. But Grim Fandango is... the acting and the script alone in that game are worth the 15... Even if you didn't play anything, if you just watched it happen, it's worth the money.
I wholeheartedly agree with that.
I really want to play through this one myself. I never got around to playing the original whack when it came out. My friend Paul did, and I just always wanted to, and I never just never happened. And as much as I like point and click games and you know, Tim Schafer type stuff, and now that it's available on Vita, I might actually dust off my Vita and download it at some point. Which,
To be honest, man,
really
yeah,
cool.
I definitely would.
It is high on my list of priorities. Well, anybody else have anything to add to Grim Fandango?
Give Tim Schafer all of the money.
Yeah, he does ask for a lot of money, so I would say if you can, give him all of your money.
Yeah, no, give it to him.
All right, cool. Grim Fandango. Thanks, Dean. That's a heck of a game, and I'm sure we all want to play it. Next up, why don't we do Dan?
I have been playing, and really only since Tuesday, which I know is kind of cheating, but there were other things that we played in January, but this I just kind of consumed everything, is Rogue Legacy for PS4. And it is... I am not a big fan of roguelikes, like things like Splunky, where the dungeon or the caves or whatever it is that you're going into are randomly generated and they're different every time. And like I like the repetition. I like learning the patterns. Like, I'm a big fan of the Metroidvania style games. I like discovering the map and going through and gaining the new abilities and whatever. So when this was put up on the lineup for PS Plus for this month as one of the free downloads, I was like, all right, I'll give this game a shot. Like, whatever, it looks kind of cool. And instantaneously hooked. Like, just as hooked as could possibly be. I was at work the other day thinking, like, man, it's like 5 hours before I can go home and play Rogue Legacy. Like, that sucks. I'm upset. The whole point of the game is you start off as a knight going into the castle. And spoiler alert for this type of game, you are going to die a lot. Like, that kind of seems like the point of the game at the beginning, is just to kill you as many times as possible. And what happens is that as you go through the game, you collect money, like either through breaking furniture or defeating enemies or opening chests or whatever, you get money. And when you die, you pass your money on to your children. And after the first guy that you have, you get to pick between 3 different children to go on your next adventure. And as soon as you select your character, you are taken to another screen where you can then upgrade your abilities and upgrade the type of characters you can have and upgrade to get different types of shops, so that all the equipment that you purchase and all the skills that you purchase, things like double jumps and dashes, are unlocked now forever. So as you go through the game, you still continue to build that progression in your character. Like, you still unlock those skill trees, you still unlock new equipment, you just always have it. The game is really hard. Like, it is a really, really hard game. I've been playing it kind of non-stop since Tuesday. Still have not beat the first boss because my character is still just way too goddamn weak. And in fact, when you're going through the castle, you get to other areas like a tower or a dungeon, and every time I jump, like I walk through the screen or drop down a level and get there, it's like, nope, I gotta go right back up. Nowhere near strong enough yet. But, like, the game, what it does so well is actually make you kind of care about the character that you're going to play with for like 3 to 4 minutes at a time. Before you select each character, it gives a list of their traits and what type of class they are. So you might be able to choose from a barbarian, an assassin, and a shinobi. And your shinobi may have gigantism, so it's a giant sprite. And your barbarian may have dwarfism, so it's a tiny little sprite.
Oh, I remember this now.
Okay.
I totally remember Dean talking about this game now.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, this sounded really cool. Sorry to interrupt. No, go ahead.
No, it's fine.
I just totally remembered it as you were explaining that. Now I know what game you're talking about.
Okay. And your other character may be totally normal. But your totally normal character might be gay with ADHD. So he runs really quick.
Does he have gay ADHD?
You know, and yeah, I'm actually glad you said that, because this is the one aspect of this game that I don't like. Because all of the traits are like, you have ADHD, or you're nearsighted, or you have poor short-term memory, or you have Alzheimer's, and that means that, like, when you go to look at your map's not there because you don't remember the rooms that you've been in. So all of these can be construed as, like, disabilities or handicaps, and then one of the traits that you can be is gay. And that really bothers me. And there's no discernible thing that happens to your character if they happen to be gay. Like, when you're nearsighted and the game starts, there is a small bubble around you that you can see clearly and everything else is blurry. There's nothing like that for the gay characters. It's not like everything is rainbows or anything like that. As far as I can tell, it adds nor detracts from your character at all, but just the fact that it's listed in the spot that is typically reserved for handicaps really pisses me off.
Yeah, that is a little strange. I like that there is no discernible negative or positive to it.
He doesn't walk around with a limp wrist or anything like that.
He's not fake.
But I just
all of a
don't.
sudden.
Yeah, I don't understand why that was put in there. Like,
well, I mean, I guess you could look at it from the perspective of that there are plenty of people that view being gay as some sort of handicap, and this game's way of addressing that is just like, and?
No,
possibly. I don't know.
I'm not going with that.
Okay, feel free to not go with that. I don't know.
But even that aside, and that is a I wouldn't say it's a minor quibble, because there are some implications there. But even going beyond that, like, all the other stuff that's in there is just so goddamn charming. Like, one of the traits that you can have is that you're prone to, like, violent outbursts. Or muscle spasms.
Yeah,
Sorry.
muscle
and
spasms
as you're walking around, your controller vibrates.
Randomly.
For just randomly. Some of them, like, one of them is you curse a lot, so when you take damage, a little speech bubble pops up, and it's a bunch of, like, symbols and characters and shit to indicate that you're cursing. Like, there's just a lot of really cute things that it does. There's, the one where you can't see in 3D, so your character, like, everything is flat. So it looks like Paper Mario when you, like, turn left or right.
Oh, the Vertigo one.
There's a Vertigo one where you, like, the entire level is upside down.
Upside down.
There's a Nostalgia one where everything is sepia toned. There's a colorblind one where everything is black and white. Like, it's just all this kind of ridiculous shit that's in this game. And it's just awesome. Like, the music is really great. The graphics look really, really nice. I mean, they are a retro style look to them. They do look 13-bit. I don't even fucking know what that is. 16-bit. As far as their aesthetic is concerned. But everything's very brightly colored. The movements are great. The enemies look cool. It's just a really, really solid, really fun game. And, like, I kind of want to get off the podcast now and go play it, which is no disparage against any of you fine people. It's just a really awesome game.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Henry, one of the lead programmers on the game, posted.
Look at that. This is why I like Chris. He's a good host.
posted on Twitter a GameFAQs conversation that sums up the gay category, where one person said, "Is it just a cosmetic trait? I had a few gay characters and it just seemed like they were normal people." And somebody responded, "I believe that's the point." So that is the point.
That sort of seems pasted on after the fact. If that was actually what they were going for, it seems a strange for him to make that statement, and I don't feel that it was made very well.
I really think the
all
problem
in all,
is
that
that it's
really
in
could
the
have been
negative
left
slot.
out. Yeah, it really could have been left out.
Well, I don't think that the traits aren't necessarily negative, because you can also have abilities that give you like critical hits, one-hit KOs. You can
Yes, but
it's not in
that spot.
There's two different slots, and the ones that give you the added bonus because you're a giant or you have hypergonadism or whatever, that's in a different section, if you will. The slot that the gay thing is in is the slot where the colorblindness and the vertigo and Alzheimer's and all of the things that would be considered a handicap, that's the slot that's in.
Yeah, no, I completely agree that that's not necessarily the best place to put it, but
I like the rationale behind
apparently that was in fact the point of it being there, that it was just to, or you could be gay, which has no bearing on anything at all.
Right.
Which I like the sentiment behind it.
Yeah.
I like the sentiment behind it, and
yeah,
it could have been implemented a bit better, but it's nice to see that there was at least a good sentiment behind it.
I think really, like, one of the nice things that this game really does really well, and it's something that I wish more games implemented, is that it automatically cross-saves. So whether you were playing Rogue Legacy on your PS4 or you were playing it on your Vita, your save is the same, and it automatically does it. I do not have to push it to a cloud. I do not have to sync it. I don't even have to think about it. It just does it for me, which is awesome.
Yeah, this game's pretty simple, too. I mean, there's really nothing to it, and I played this game for 35, 40 hours before I was finally like, I think I played enough. All you do is walk around, kill bad guys, kill some big bad guys, rinse and repeat, because you'll die sooner or later. It's just a matter of when. So,
it's going to kill you.
Yeah, it's very punishing.
A bunch.
But, there's a whole rewards ladder and everything that really gives you an incentive to go back and keep playing. And to be honest, I played the shit out of this. I made it to the top of that rewards tower, and it was really fun once you got to the top. There's some really, really cool abilities.
This, again, sounds like a really cool game that I would really like to try.
Yeah, I am, like I said, I am not a fan of roguelike games. They're just not a thing that I get into. This game's awesome. So, I mean, that should be enough of an endorsement, I feel.
And what platforms is it on?
It's definitely PC. Like, it's a Steam game, right, Dean?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. You can get it on Steam and PS4 and Vita.
Look at that. I might actually get 2 games for my Vita soon.
And it is free this month on PS Plus.
I don't have PS Plus.
You really should.
You really should. For $10, dude, for $10 this month, you got Rogue Legacy and Apotheon and Transistor, and that's just for PS4.
Transistor's fucking amazing.
I don't have a PS4. All I have is a Vita, and I don't have $120 a month to spend on games I'm not going to play that I lose if I stop paying $120 a year. I get that if you're going to use it, it's a great value, but there's no way in hell I would even use 4% of it. It's just never going to happen.
Well, spend $10 on it this month and get Rogue Legacy for $5 cheaper than what it normally costs.
Oh, it's only $10?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I mean, I'd rather just buy the game for $10.
No, the game is 15.
Oh, the game's 15. Okay, I'm bad at math.
Yeah. If you get PlayStation Network for a month, that would be $10 and you would get the game for free.
Yeah, but then I lose the game, so I would only have a month to play it. That's like, I did that with Mega Man X Maverick Hunter X. I was like, oh, that's on PlayStation Network? Well, I'll sign up for PlayStation Network for a month, and I'll download that game, and then I'll be good to go. And then I realized that that's not how it works, and I was like, I don't get to keep the game? Well, bollocks. So I was all sad. So, I love the notion of PlayStation Network. I'll never get around to using it.
Well, all right, then. Rogue Legacy, buy it. There you go.
Seems well worth $15 to me. And with that, we're going to take ourselves a quick break. When we get back, me and Tiff will talk about our games of the month. Stick around.
Womp womp.
Strongbad, wake up! Blackthorn, the people need your help! Wait, the who? I mean the Purple! There you go. They need your help! It's been too long since they had a #1 jam. They've been scraping dope rhymes up off the kitchen floor just to survive. Another #1 jam? All right, I'll do it. For the Pureful. Woke up this morning in a rap song video.
Can you help me with my hip-hop video?
Well, Coach Z, that all depends. Can you get your green mittens on a fisheye lens?
I'm sorry, did you just say womp womp?
That's right, and you know what that means.
I don't.
Things are about to get bulbous. Womp womp, I bought a fisheye lens and make a rap video with a couple of friends. It goes womp womp. All the ladies and men, they know everything is better with the fisheye lens.
Hey, that chorus wasn't kidding. Check out how cool my rap points look.
With a fisheye lens, you don't need to know how to rap or skateboard or do anything well. Just put the camera on the ground and aim it up.
My kicks look huge and my crew looks tough.
We got bulbous hands
And bulbous feet.
Let's turn your back to the camera. Shake those bulbous cheeks.
Oh, look at that. I've got a considerable rear shelf.
That makes me uncomfortable. I bought a fisheye lens and make a rap video with a couple of friends. It goes womp womp. All the ladies and men, they know everything.
Welcome back,
is better with
everybody.
the fisheye lens.
Now it is time to discuss more games from last month. So we're going to jump right back in, feet first or head first, depending on how dangerous you feel. Tiff, what was your game of January?
Actually, with my game, you could kind of go ass first. Because my game was Fat Princess.
There was so much. You thought the shit I said was wrong before? No, there's so much wrong with that sentence.
Good God. You could kind of go ass first.
She does!
Who doesn't? Honestly.
Anyway, I've been playing Fat Princess, Piece of Cake. This is the sort of portable version of Fat Princess. It's on Vita and Android and iOS, and it's sort of like Candy Crush meets a turn-based RPG. It's awesome, is what it is. You have various members of your party, just like in Fat Princess. So you have, the priest and the bomber and the guy with the sword, and I clearly don't know their names. I'm just gonna say it like that. And every time you match their corresponding token, that's what you attack the enemy with. So you match 3 swords, and this turn you get 1 hit points with your, sword guy. I'm sounding really informed about this. Regardless, it is so much fun. The levels are super challenging. I just reached a new portion where there's now chickens. I've never fought chickens before, but now I'm fighting chickens. And they're really, really difficult to beat, these chickens. And the best part of it is one of the tokens you can match up is a piece of cake. And if you get enough pieces of cake, you can send in the princess. And she butt bombs all of the enemies that you have left. She'll come through, and depending on how many cakes you've gotten, she flies through the air and lands on her ass and knocks all of their hit points down to a corresponding amount to how much cake she's eaten. And it's really amazing. They're short little levels. You usually have 3 to maybe 5 waves of enemies that you have to go through. And the best part about it is that once you've cleared stage 15, which is really not all that difficult to do, you get a download code for a free copy of Fat Princess on PS3, which is a pretty stellar game. So you really can't beat it. I was trying to see earlier if they're charging for it. I thought that it was either 99 cents or $1.99, and I think that I got it on a free promo, but I'm not sure that it is free now. I want to say that it's probably 99 cents or $1.99, but I could be wrong about that. And then, of course, just like any of the other games like this, there are in-app purchases. You have a certain number of energy, then that's what allows you to go through each level, and when you run out of energy, you gotta wait until it builds back up, or you can buy coins to buy more energy. The other thing that you do in it is there is a diamond token, and when you match that just goes into your bank of diamonds, and with those diamonds you actually level up all of your different characters. So I hit a spot in the game last week where I just couldn't get past the level, so I had to go back and, kind of do the trudging through the levels over and over again to try and build up some more diamonds to increase the levels of all my dudes, or you just can't get past it. And that's, it's sort of a unique aspect to this type of game, but I'm just really enjoying it. It has all of the same, colorfulness and quirkiness. It's got all the same characters as Fat Princess, and it's just super fun.
I've never played this game. I played Fat Princess. You kind of make me want to play it. So good job in describing it.
It's really awesome. It's so much fun.
I'm a big fan of puzzle games. So this sort of sounds like what was that game called? Puzzle Quest? I think it's called Puzzle Quest.
Sort of like that. It's a lot like the Doctor Who.
Yeah,
Legacy.
it's a lot like the Doctor Who iOS game.
Cool. I have to check it out. How much was it again?
It's either free or like 99 cents. It's really not much.
I think it's free on iOS and Android, and I think it's $1.99 on Vita.
Maybe.
I think is the way it's priced.
I don't necessarily recommend it for Vita because it is 100% touchscreen, and that can be sort of awkward on Vita. So I definitely think it benefits from just being on a tablet or your phone or something like that.
You said it was sort of touch-based?
It's 100% touch-based. So when you're doing it on...
Isn't the Vita screen touch-based, though?
It is, but I find it really awkward using the touchscreen on the Vita.
Yeah, the Vita screen is landscaped.
Well, I don't have a problem with that. I have a
Versus-
problem with the fact that you have to scoot your thumbs in over where the buttons are to get them comfortably on the screen, but then you're kind of palming the buttons. I don't know. I find it a little awkward.
Oh, so it's not like, you wouldn't hold your pointer over it. You would need to, use your thumbs,
You could, but
I don't know. We haven't played the Vita version.
Well, I'm just saying, as touchscreen games on the Vita in general.
Yeah,
I find it a little awkward.
You wouldn't want to play Candy Crush, ever really, but you wouldn't.
You know what? You can bite me.
You wouldn't want to play Candy Crush on the Vita. Imagine where it would kind of be stretched out and kind of strange to do. Same thing with this. Some of those games are meant to be more.
You're missing the point. I think that it
Fair
would
enough.
look just fine on the Vita because I do play it landscape on my phone. It does render like that nicely. I think it was probably originally designed to make sure that it looked good on the Vita also. I just find it very awkward to hold the Vita bypassing the buttons.
Yeah, I can see that. I think I see what you're going for there.
I don't like doing touch games where I'm holding the device in one hand and pointing at it with my finger. I like to grip it like you would grip a controller and just use my thumbs on the touchscreen. And that would be awkward to do on the Vita.
Yeah, the Vita's not really all that well suited to that, but at least it's multi-touch, unlike the 3DS. I can't imagine how bad that would be.
But yeah, surprisingly fun little game. I know I get some flack here and there for iOS games, but I really enjoy it. And with the way that my day goes, sometimes that's the only gaming that I can get done because honestly, by the time I get my system turned on and through its loading screen, I have missed my opportunity and I have to go do some kind of mom thing. So it's a super fun game, and to get the Fat Princess PS3 game on it also is a pretty excellent bonus because that's an awesome game. If anybody doesn't know, Fat Princess is I would almost say it's sort of a capture the flag type multiplayer online game, but instead of capturing flags, you're capturing princesses, and in order to keep your enemies from capturing their princess, you feed her lots and lots of cake. And as you feed her cake, she gets heavier, and it's harder for them to take her away.
So what you're saying is it's a MOBA.
Damn it, Dean! Not everything is about fucking Dota 2. God damn it,
Everything is about Dota 2.
Dean! That
Anyway.
game sucks, and everyone who likes it is wrong.
I like fat girls in frilly dresses.
I think you just offended literally 95% of the internet.
What the, I give a fuck about them. Bunch of nerds behind their keyboards.
What are you doing right now?
Dude,
Bring it, trolls! Come on.
we're gonna have to disable comments for this episode. Anyway, Fat Princess is really fun and you should check it out. It's Fat Princess Piece of Cake on Vita, iOS, and Android.
All right, well, I guess that leaves me. I have a fun story I want to kind of get out of the way, because it'll probably bleed into what I'm playing next month. I was able to
It
obtain
damn well better, sir.
It's I can just about guarantee it will,
Okay.
unless something else amazing comes out in the month of February. But I was able to obtain a crazy cool collection. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and abbreviate what I actually played this month, because while it is an extraordinarily cool game, there isn't a whole ton to say about it. The game that I played the most of in January that I thought was the coolest, and I'm super happy about, is a game called Xeodrifter. It's on the 3DS, it's by Renegade Kid, the same team that made Mutant Muds, and it's a Metroidvania-style game about a little space dude running around to different planets and collecting weapons. And if you've played Mutant Muds, and you can imagine the Mutant Muds engine running basically a Metroid game, then you know you need to buy the game. So, if you have a 3DS, buy Xeodrifter. If Xeodrifter is anything like the previous Mutant Muds games, it'll probably eventually show up on other platforms. If you don't have the 3DS, it's really super cool. It's Xeodrifter, cute little space dude. Renegade Kid's fantastic. Ta-da.
What a ringing endorsement. I'm sure they're so thrilled.
I know, that was very enthusiastic. That's the thing. Like, Xeodrifter, I was so thrilled to get Xeodrifter. I was just, like, absolutely nuts about it. And then, right at the end of the month, Gunman Clive 2 came out. And I downloaded it. I haven't had a chance to play it yet. But Gunman Clive 2, I'm also super jazzed about. Gunman Clive was a $1 game. It was super cool. I've talked about it on the show before. But something happened to me the other day that tops all of this. I got my hands on a really, really cool collection of Super Nintendo games, including some extremely cool games that I never thought I'd get a chance to play, outside of emulation. I went over to Mike Sheridan's house. Mike Sheridan, big fan of the show. And after obtaining this collection from a friend of mine, and we sat down and we played Wild Arms for Super NES, which is a really cool game. It's kind of like, I guess you would call it a Cabal-style shooter, or if you remember Cabal, which was an old... how do you explain it? It's like a target shooting game almost. Your character is in the foreground, and you move your character back and forth, but by doing so, you're also moving a cursor around the screen to shoot all the things and people and bullets that are shooting at you in the background. Almost like a light gun game without the light gun kind of a thing. It's a surprisingly cool and interesting game. You play as either Clint or... I can't remember the girl's name, who's just wearing, like, an Old West dress, or, like, this big beefy cowboy dude. And they both control exactly the same. They do all the same stuff. It's cool that you have that option of playing as either, like, the guy or the girl, but I don't know why the girl is not dressed like a cowboy. She's just dressed like in a frilly dress. It's weird. But... Wild Guns, very cool game. I got to play Knights of the Round, which is an old school Capcom beat 'em up, and like Final Fight, except with like Knights of the Round Table type stuff in it. Only very loosely based on the Knights of the Round Table, because it takes a lot of liberties. It's Capcom; they're insane. But that was a pretty cool game.
That game's awesome.
Yeah, I like that game a lot. In the same collection, I got to play some King of Dragons, which is also a Capcom beat 'em up, but nowhere near as good as Knights of the Round, because Knights of the Round has like combos and stuff like that, whereas King of Dragons remind me a lot of Golden Axe, where it's like you have this one attack and you do that one attack and it knocks people down. And it was cool, but as far as Capcom beat 'em ups go, it was really kind of... It just had nothing on Knights of the Round Table, which was big and colorful and super fun combos, and it was great. But the highlight of this collection, for me anyway, was to finally get to play Hagane, which is... It actually was thought to be a Blockbuster exclusive for a while. This game just released late in the Super NES's life cycle. I do that mistake all the time. Late in the Super NES's life cycle, and... people started... nobody really heard about it. Nobody really paid attention to it when it came out. It apparently had a very limited release. Whether or not it was limited to Blockbuster exclusive or not, it's kind of hard to say for sure. But because apparently recently some like electronics boutique managers have come out saying, "Oh, we sold the game at our store," but whatever the case may be, the game's very uncommon. It's just you don't see it out there a whole lot, and a lot of people don't talk about it because very few folks played it. It's kind of this like steampunk future type game where you're this ninja robot cyborg something, I don't know, and you play this almost Ninja Gaiden style game where it's just a 2D side-scrolling action platformer, and it kind of reminded me of a cross between modern Ninja Gaiden games, like not like the old 2D side scrollers, but the newer Ninja Gaiden series, and Strider, which is as cool as that sounds. Like all of the good traits you would think of those two games melding together forms this game. So you have your primary attack, which is this sword, which has a swipe similar to Strider Heroes, where it's like that kind of swipe animation thing, and you can continuously move. Like it's not like Ryu in Ninja Gaiden, where when you swing your sword you stop. This you can just keep on moving, just like Strider. But where it becomes a little bit more complex than Strider is that, much like the newer Ninja Gaiden games, it has a whole mess of moves that you can do. Like there's no end to the number of moves that you can pull off, with all these different backflips and augmentations of the backflips, where you can do like spin kicks and pounding the ground and like shooting shurikens and switching weapons, and it has a really complex fighting engine, especially for a Super Nintendo game, and pretty decent music for the time. The graphics are not as cool as you would hope them to be. Like it's a good looking game, but it's not pushing the Super NES, which is kind of unfortunate, because from a gameplay perspective, it really was intense. Like it's a very, very cool game, and it totally deserves the notoriety that it has. Like it's a sought after title to people that have heard of it, because it's supposed to be pretty cool, and I can actually say firsthand it is an extraordinarily cool game, and it was a really cool experience to get to actually play it. You know, obviously I brought my Retron 5 with me back to North Jersey, and when I was hanging out with Mike, so we played all these games on a Retron, and I'm looking forward to, at some point in the not-too-distant future, busting out a CRT and grabbing a Super Nintendo and plugging it in and playing Hagane on it. But in the meantime, the Retron 5 did me well, and we got to play some crazy cool games, and I was really lucky to get this collection, and I can't wait to play more of it, because there's definitely a few other games that I'm looking forward to trying. Space Megaforce is in there, Aero Fighters was in there, and I'm really... Like, I've never played those games. Another one that is in the collection that I'm really excited to try is a game called SOS that I've never heard of before. It looks like a sinking submarine simulator, as in a simulation of a dude on a submarine that's sinking.
Sounds like a very depressing game. Play this character who's going to die.
That's kind of what it looks like. There doesn't seem to be an action game. Like the box is really bare bones, and like
it's a typing simulator where you have to write a letter to your wife and children.
Oh my god,
Jesus, Dan.
Oh, the last boss of the game is a mini game where you tie a noose.
Holy, oh god.
Things have taken a turn.
Y'all motherfuckers are dark.
I kind of like looked at a YouTube video of it very briefly, and there was like, at one point everything was on an angle, like the ship was sinking. Like, I don't know if it's a submarine, it might be a ship, almost like you're on the Titanic when it's sinking.
It's not getting any better.
Now it's just historically sad.
There doesn't appear to be any actual action in the game. You just walk around and talk to people like we're all gonna die or something, and apparently he can jump, but not super high. It's
but not high enough to jump over the railing.
I don't know.
Well, he is Irish. Clint Mick gonna die soon.
That's a tour. What?
What?
You weren't hugged
Irish
enough as a
people?
child.
No, I wasn't. But Irish people can't jump. Proven. Fact.
Did you just make up a fucking racial stereotype?
There was that documentary, White Men Can't Jump.
They said white men, not Irishmen.
Woody Harrelson is Irish.
How many whites there are?
Woody O. Harrelson.
I think you're a terrible person. I might have made a huge mistake here.
Nice. We've gotten the question in our marriage on the podcast.
Not so much the marriage, because I have a good time, but I'm wondering if I should have breeded with you.
Well,
Can that be our next Kickstarter game? I think that.
What?
breeding with Dan for Super Nintendo.
No, I meant the fucking type in the letter to your wife and kids thing
Actually,
while you can't jump over
I
shit.
don't know now. I kind of like breeding with Dan for Super Nintendo.
We're debuting that podcast next week. Breeding with Dan. Sexy.
Well, we're not going to top that.
Sorry, Chris. I apologize.
No, that's fine. I
didn't mean to steal your sinking submarine thunder.
No, that was pretty much all I had to say about played it yet. It's... I don't know.
You saved him from the sinking ship. It was brilliant.
Oh, hashtag dad jokes. Don't do that.
The hashtag dad jokes are the best thing ever.
So, SOS for Super Nintendo. Maybe that'll be my game of the month next month. But either way,
Probably not.
I'm going to say, yeah, the game actually looks like it's going to be terrible. But I'm looking forward to trying it because what the hell, man. Even though I technically just played it yesterday, I'm going to retroactively give my game of the month January to Hagane for Super NES because it's a really cool game.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I've played Hagane, and it is really cool. Like I think your point about the graphics kind of stands. Like there's a lot of those a lot of Super Nintendo games we look back very fondly on as having really incredible graphics that stand the test of time. And Hagane's the actual like character designs aren't great, but the animation of the character is really good.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. The animations are all very excellent.
Yeah, like the game, because you're right, like the game it's very manic. There's a lot of shit going on in Hagane. And the animation, it's very fluid going from action to action. It just, like when you look at it now, it's like, oh man, if they would have spent like another like 2 weeks making this guy look a little cooler, it would stand the test of time as like the greatest game that nobody's ever played.
Yeah, as it stands right now, it's like almost the ultimate hidden gem. But I mean, from a gameplay perspective, it's a really neat game. It's a really fairly extraordinarily put together thing. It's hard though. It is classically difficult.
I think I've gotten through 2 or 3 levels, like in all the different times that I've played. I've gotten nowhere close to finishing that game.
Yeah, I think me and Mike got
it
to
is
like
very tough,
close to the end of level 1, and then we were just like, all right, this game's amazing, but we got to try other things because, I had a limited amount of time to play all these weird-ass games I got. But, dude, Hagane is very cool. And with that, I think we're going to call it a night. That was a lot of fun. So, next week, next week I'm not going to be here. I'm going to be, I'm going to be on a boat next week. Maybe SOS is about my future.
Get that news ready, Chris.
Oh, damn.
Well, since I'll either just be on a boat or dead next week, I won't be on the show next week, which means I won't be around for the discussion of video game betting and or tournaments, which is going to be... I'm looking forward to listening to it if I live long enough, because it'll be a fun discussion. But in the meantime, Dean, do the thing.
Remember, guys, if you liked what you heard in the show, remember to check the show notes. We got all the stuff that we were talking about listed down there, whether it be fuck God. I'm done.
If you like what you heard, check the show notes for links to all the things that we talked about on this episode.
Thanks, Dean. Well, everybody, that's it for the show. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll talk to you next week. When they reunited, they should have renamed themselves Your Chemical Romance. I should name everything.
Chris, you sure you want to finish the podcast? And
Look,
you sure you want to go
Chris,
to bed?
Chris, look,
Yo.
you are the master of segues. Or sorry, the king of segues. I don't know that you're the king of naming things yet.
Not the Sultan of Segways?
Oh, you should be the sultan of segues.
I don't know, he's getting better at naming things. He's getting better.
He is getting better at naming things. Holy shit, it's happening right before our
You're
eyes.
getting close to Michelangelo level of naming things.
Well, everybody, that's it for the show. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll talk to you next week. We'll talk at you next week.
Shut up! You crazy fuck.
Chris, you are now also the...
He's laughing maniacally.
I can't even think of any, like... You're the something of outros. You are the orangutan of outros.
The orangutan of outros?
I don't know. I couldn't think of a good... The outstanding guy of outros. That doesn't really work. So I went with orangutan.
The outroist.
Okay.
The outro. Oh.
I'm fucking gonna stop recording. We don't need to pick up any more of this shit.